welcome to another episode of the J&R Sports Talk. We are back after the summer. It's our first episode of the 2023-2024 school year, I guess you could say. So we're back from the summer, a brief hiatus, and we are back here today with producer Pete Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, and he's going to jump on the desk today to talk to us about the Giants and the Jets. So that's what we have today. We're talking about the Giants and the Jets' Week 1 performances. So as always, we'll get right back into it.
Although James forgot to introduce me, I'm Raffaelle Donniacuo. Thank you, James.
Off to a hot start. The James versus Ralph rivalry is brewing, and it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
All right, so we're talking about the Giants first. The Giants obviously got embarrassed on Sunday Night Football on Sunday night, 40-0 by the Cowboys. So I'm just going to give it to you right away. I mean, what do you think about that game? Like, what went wrong?
I'll say this. Everything went wrong except if you want to go silver lining, if you want to look at a silver lining perspective, the only possible thing you could say is the defense played pretty well in the first half. You look at the Dallas Cowboys offensive stats, no stats for any players of note. The offense didn't do much. It was all the defense and special teams points they put up that made this game insurmountable. So that's the only silver lining. Everything else was bad. The offense was horrible. Daniel Jones was running for his life, made bad throws on top of it. You can maybe argue that Saquon Barkley looked pretty good, but outside of that, it went as bad as it possibly could have. However, I don't think it's time to panic and just believe this team is garbage and has no hope and has no reason to believe they can win more games in this league, because it was one of those game scripts, James, that it went so poorly so quickly that there's reason to believe that if that first field goal doesn't get blocked and it goes in, the entire game looks completely different. Do they lose 21-6? Maybe, but not 40-0. That was unique.
I mean, everything went wrong basically for the Giants. But also, like, something that I was thinking, I kind of believe that the Giants just gave up there. And I'd like to hear a Giants fan's opinion on it, but like, I feel like the Giants kind of just gave up. Like, the offense just gave up. And that also, a lot of that falls on Brian Daboll, head coaching. So, I don't know. Is that wrong? Do you think that this team just completely gave up, or it was just like an awful week 1?
It was both. It was both. I think they gave up a little bit in the fourth quarter, second half a little bit. The defense started giving up more running yards. But it's one of those things where instantly you get the blocked field goal for a touchdown, a 3-and-out field goal, then a 3-and-out or a pick six, I believe, actually. Right away, the defense of the Dallas Cowboys had the opportunity to do what they do best and rush the passer, knowing the Giants had to pass to keep this even remotely interesting. So it was just a horrible alignment of things that took place. The second half thing, I almost just want to throw it out. I want to just treat this game like it didn't happen. A loss is a loss. It only counts as one. That's what this team has to tell themselves, even though the product they put on the field was embarrassing on Sunday night. So I'm basically trying to just look past it and say that was 40-0. Doesn't matter if it was 40-0 or 14-3 or 14-13 for that matter. It is what it is. I don't know if Ralph, he's more of a little bit of a hater, so I don't know how you feel about this, Ralph.
Well, my thing is special teams is a big part of football, and the Giants gave that up really quickly in the first quarter. Maybe 2 years ago it happened with the Packers. I forget who they were playing. When did the Packers special teams mess up in the playoffs? 49ers, right?
Yeah, Niners.
Niners, that was an example, and this game just builds off of that on how you need to have a good special teams to win games. And I think it was just a terrible performance by the Giants.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Terrible performance by the Giants. I mean, it made me happy. But I think my karma got to me immediately because fourth snap of the Jets game, we lose our Lord and Savior, Aaron Rodgers. So let's just move right to the Jets. So I don't even know what to say except I expected it being like, you just know nothing will ever go right. So Aaron Rodgers confirmed MRI out for the year with the ruptured Achilles. So, I mean, it's just like, I don't even want to talk about the game. I mean, we will talk about it a little bit, but like, what's next for the Jets? Like, what do you do?
How about Zach Wilson?
I mean, yeah, I'm not so
14 for
against
21.
Zach Wilson.
14 for 21, 140 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have that early interception, but
yeah, but he looked just like he did last year. He looked just like he did
I
last
think the
year.
whole 2 weeks that Aaron Rodgers mentored him is going to be great for him, and I feel like he's coming back stronger than ever week 2. And if that doesn't work out, I say we get Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, but I mean,
there
were so many points throughout that game, so many throws that literally just looked like Zach Wilson last season.
But let's talk about the similarities between Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones in that first game. Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson played very similarly. You could argue that Zach Wilson actually made more plays.
Oh,
They were-
I mean, yeah,
Oh, I
for
mean,
sure.
100%.
They were both under way more duress than they normally should be against most teams, but the Bills and the Cowboys happen to be two of the better defenses in the league. I think when the Giants go up against the Cardinals this week, we're going to all of a sudden say, oh, wow, the Giants aren't terrible. However, the Jets have to go up against the Cowboys. So that pass rush is so ridiculous. As a Jets fan, you go into this with no expectation, hope your defense keeps it close, but you're not expecting to win this game. But if Zach Wilson can at least continue to make some plays with his legs, extend the pocket, and do something positive weekly, that run game looked really good. Breece Hall looked like a dog.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's no hope for the Jets. I know we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers in a second. That defense is absolutely elite for the
Yeah,
Jets.
it is, for
so
sure.
to be completely hopeless is wrong, but to have faith that this offense is going to put up 20 points consistently, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's like it's so like deja vu to, in my opinion, to last year where the defense is so elite and then the offense is just not. They're not going to win games for the Jets. Like I could just see it, and like we're seeing reports on Twitter, and I just got one that Colin Kaepernick told his agent that he reached out to Jets for a desire to make an NFL return, but
And they hung up the phone.
yeah, the Jets are
Actually?
looking for a veteran quarterback.
Well, right now it is just mayhem on social media right now with all the reporters saying, "Oh, every single quarterback's in play here." The Jets are going to give Zach Wilson a chance here.
oh, for sure, he needs a chance. He
There's a
does.
reason
deserves
that
one.
he was still on the team, right? If he was done with the Jets, he wouldn't have been the backup to Aaron Rodgers this year, but he was.
Well, you also
So-
don't want to throw away $20 million.
Of course, but like at the same time, if you think it's going to hurt your team, you do
gotta
what you
get
have
rid
to
of
do.
him, yeah.
We've seen it happen before.
Right.
We just saw Trey Lance get
Yeah.
traded from San Francisco. They traded up for him to take him in the same spot as Zach Wilson, basically.
So like the one positive thing with Zach is when he did make some good throws in the pocket, which was another thing from last season. He has zero pocket presence. I mean, he threw the interception, which is a terrible pass in the pocket, but it was all last year. He was just running out of the pocket, trying to make things happen on the run, and he would make some impressive throws on the run. I mean, I'm thinking like back when we played Tennessee last season, he had that bomb to Corey Davis, and it's just he looked better in the pocket than what we've seen last year. And I think that if the Jets can just pound the run game and then make Zach do what he can do, the simple stuff, like don't oversimplify this offense, just give him what he can do, that I feel like the offense may be able to put up enough for the defense to hold them in football games. But
I agree with you. Next week against the Cowboys, I'm really not too nervous. I understand they have a crazy pass
not
rush.
nervous?
I'm not too nervous. I'm confident.
did you think the Jets?
I'm
offensive
confident
line-
in the Jets.
The Jets offensive
It doesn't
line
matter.
is going to do
Their
the same
run-
thing the Giants did this week.
Their run game's going to be fine. I'm
You
not
got to be
worried.
nervous about the offense, though. Did you see Micah Parsons and that defensive line against the Giants? I know you went to sleep at halftime, but
The defense could hold us. The defense could
They
keep us in
could.
this game.
They could.
The
Dallas's
Cowboys
offense didn't
the
look very
Cowboys
good.
offense is not
Oh, it didn't look good.
insanely
It
good.
didn't look good
It's
at all.
not.
It did not look good at all, for sure.
If the defense keeps it keeps us in the game, Breece Hall's got us.
hope.
Zach Wilson could throw his checkdowns. Breece Hall could run it. That's all we need.
Okay, but talking about something that I've been talking about all day is that I want to hear your opinions on it, and then I'll say why. I want to give Zach a chance maybe this week or next, and then the week after, week 3, see what happens. But how opposed would it be to bring in a veteran quarterback like Jameis Winston? Like I would love
Jameis
Love
Winston. I
Jameis
was saying it
Winston.
once he got hurt. Jameis Winston would be a great addition. I like Jameis a lot, except he has the decision making of a 4-year-old. Then he's probably going to lead the league in interceptions.
But you know what? Is it worth it if you're going to get 25 touchdowns out of
Exactly.
him?
You say that the Jets' defense is so good, right? If it is so good, then
we
you
can
you
afford it,
have a
yeah.
defense that could afford getting stops off of turnovers.
What you have
I
to do
agree.
is go one direction. You can't be middling. You can't try to get Carson Wentz and make him not turnover prone because we saw what happens in Indianapolis. If he's trying to be conservative, he's not going to put up points and he may not turn it over, but you're not going to get explosives. If you got to go Jameis Winston or you got to go Colt McCoy, right? Like you got to pick a side. You can't go
Right.
in the middle because otherwise you're just better off rolling with Zach Wilson.
Exactly. Another thing with Jameis Winston though, when he threw that, then he had that season 2019 with 30 interceptions or something like that, crazy.
And threw for like 5,000 yards.
Right, 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. The thing is, the Buccaneers had zero run game that season.
Right.
No offensive line, no run game. Their starting running back, I think, was Peyton Barber. And then Ronald Jones was solid for the last 3 weeks, but they could not run the football. So Jameis Winston was throwing the football every play, and if the Jets, he comes into an offense like the Jets where they can run the football and pound it out down the field with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, I mean, then make him throw the ball maybe 20 times a game and just run it, be a run-first team. I feel like that'd be like a much better fit for Jameis Winston. I feel like he'd work well when he has a running back room, which is so good that like Breece Hall can take a lot of pressure off of him. So he won't have to throw the ball as much, and he won't have to make more superhero-type throws on a first down or a second down as opposed to what he had to do in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. If you had to choose one quarterback to bring into this room, just one, you can't pick two. You have to just pick one guy, whether he's going to be the backup or the starter. Who's the number one pick for you guys to bring into this room, Ralph?
Gardner Minshew.
I'm
taking Gardner Minshew.
I like Minshew too. I mean, but
I'm definitely between Winston and Minshew, but I'm taking Minshew. I feel like Minshew's a safer option here.
The problem with Minshew is you have to trade for him.
Yeah.
Same with Jameis.
Well, you also have to trade for
What
Jameis.
team is Jameis?
Jameis on the
Jameis-
Saints.
He's still on the Saints?
He signed a
Pretty
one-year
sure.
extension as a backup for the Saints.
I'm locked in, fellas. I know exactly where everyone's at right now.
Yeah, he's on the
Yeah.
Saints.
So regardless, you have to trade for them. That leaves you
Yeah.
with the free agents: Gardner Minshew, Colt McCoy, Matt Ryan just retired, Wentz, Dalton,
I don't want-
Foles.
Terrible. No one said Tom Brady yet, and we'll keep it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it though, like everywhere.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Tom
That'd be
Brady's not coming out of
hysterical. Can we talk
retirement.
about? We got to go in like a minute. Can we talk about Aaron Rodgers though for a second?
Yes.
Can we just say this? It is terribly sad for the NFL to lose Aaron Rodgers. Jets fans and non-Jets fans, whether you love him or hate him, losing a legend in what could have been his last chance to make a competitive run at a Super Bowl is brutal. It's like losing LeBron James right now for a full season. It's like when Kevin Durant lost that year in Brooklyn. The biggest stars in the sport missing out on a chance to be great. It's devastating to me, and it stings, and I can only imagine how Jets fans are feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
should
feels,
only
it feels
imagine.
great.
I mean, prayers for Aaron Rodgers though. I mean, he's tore his Achilles, so
Yeah, prayers for
that's
Aaron
more important.
Rodgers.
I guess that's more important than the Jets fans.
Yeah. It's tough, you know?
Do you think he plays football again?
No,
You think
Aaron
he's done?
Rodgers does not step on the field. You saw it. He knew what happened. He got back up. He sat right back down. And he took one last glance at the field. He's not returning.
He was hard to read when he was still healthy, if he wanted to come back. or
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
he still came back, so maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll see.
I don't know, but
I
either
think
way, it's a crusher for the Jets. And we finally thought we had something, but
We saw something. Zach Wilson's great. Don't worry about it. Don't
Yeah,
need
he's the
Gardner.
future.
Zach Wilson is the future of the
He's
New
the
York
future.
Jets.
But anyway, that's all we have here today on our first episode back from the summer. Hope you all enjoyed. Today was Tuesday, so hopefully tomorrow and Wednesday we'll have another episode out. We're thinking of playing like a game type episode, some immaculate grid. But that's all we have here today. I've been James Westgate.
I've been Raffaelle Donniacuo.
Mr. Kennedy.
Have a great day, everyone.